You're listening to the Boldcastify College Series.
Alright, this is Clay to Apocalypse.
It's CJ from the town.
How you doing? This is Mark at BCB Markopedia.
Surfer Dude 333.
All out. This is the Boldcastify College Series.
What a weekend.
And you heard the music. You know what's up. We just came off a big game down in Orlando.
Huge win.
That's an incredible come
Hell of a
behind
comeback.
victory.
Mm-hmm.
Historic.
Comeback.
Well, yeah, biggest win in Florida State
Biggest comeback.
history.
Even bigger than the Choke It Doke.
What ties it?
Led by a freshman, sophomore.
Actually, it was bigger.
Was it bigger?
Yeah, because
Okay.
Choke It Doke was 31-3 at one point, but
Right.
we went on a bigger run against
Okay.
Ole Miss than we did against.
But either way, it was a win, so
Yeah,
that's the important factor.
All that matters.
I mean,
But incredible win.
it was a tale of two halves. I mean, DeAndre
definitely.
Francois looked like a different man in the second half than he did in
He
the
looked
first.
comfortable.
He looked a lot more
Especially
comfortable.
tonight where they was focused on Devin Cook. They was adamant in shutting that down.
They were able to
Francois
box.
took the challenge, and he had regular freshman mistakes. The defense should have held up in the first half to help him out, but they pulled it together second half. Francois got comfortable, and they took off from there.
That tempo from Ole Miss in the first half
Dangerous.
killed
Yes,
Florida
it
State for a
definitely
while.
killed- it definitely
Because
killed.
I was watching it at the bar with, Clay and Brandon here. And the thing is, what I was noticing was they were snapping the ball before the Florida State players were even set at points.
their Ole Miss is a
That's
very
their
tempo
game.
offense.
That's their game.
And Chad Kelly, the first half, looked like he was carving through him like a bad thing of Swiss cheese.
Chad Kelly's a very good quarterback. We all seen that, but then that second half, that defense stepped up,
And Chad Kelly turning the ball over 3 times.
turned the ball over, 4 sacks, 4.5 sacks, and
That's Jimbo's MO.
adjustments.
And,
Yeah.
Very,
adjustments in the
very
second
good
half.
adjustments in the second half.
The bleepity bleep bleep.
Yep.
And Walker stepped up to be the team leader he's supposed to be.
Yep. 4.5 sacks.
And of course, Francois finished with 33 attempts and
33 completions.
33 completions, 52 attempts.
And let's not include that running threat he had, man. I mean, completed some very critical first downs. I mean, 60 yards on both runs.
52 yards rushing overall, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very good.
It was a rough game. Rough first half, but
420 passing yards.
it's his first game in college.
He got comfortable.
That was,
yeah,
As
that's
soon
all
as
it
he got
took.
comfortable, that touchdown to Rudolph before the half.
That's all it took.
That really set him up.
Yeah.
And he got a hit. I don't remember the defensive end from Ole
He got
Miss.
a couple of them.
But that one, he got a hit, and
The
when
guy
they hit
laid
him,
on his knee.
he just laid heavy on him, and someone had to carry him off the field. And I was questioning whether he'd actually make it back in the game.
Yeah. Shout out Dalvin Cook, the Heisman hopeful. He didn't do it in the running game, but he stepped up in the passing game with over 100 yards receiving. I mean, if you're gonna slow him down in the rushing game, he's gonna threaten you in the passing game.
Yes.
He did phenomenal despite his fumble at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, despite
Yeah,
that should have been a touchdown.
That
Go
was
ahead,
a
touchdown.
what in the actual.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, accidents happen.
He got us there. And he's got us
Yes.
to the goal line. That's all that matters.
At least Ricky was able to
They
put
have
through.
another kicker who could possibly win them a championship, man. I mean, that's scary. A
What was
guy
it,
that can
6?
have ice in
Yeah,
his veins.
6 field goals. We got
6
another
field goals.
Aguayo.
Yeah.
18 points, school record.
Yeah,
Yep.
man.
That's incredible.
The ice in his veins. He had a couple from 40 yards deep. I mean, he's ready.
Another Aguayo, man.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when we get Dalvin Cook's little brother in 2 years.
yeah.
Just a
he's on
beastlier
the way.
version.
He's on the way.
Yeah,
I'm not disappointed, I'll be honest.
Miami Central, man.
Yeah. Keep putting him out.
I
You
mean,
just got to keep.
It's nothing when you talk about Miami jumping Gators, getting in the top 25.
Yeah.
I was about to say, going back to that game, there's a quote on here for the Ole Miss guy saying, from Hugh Freeze saying, it was a nightmarish second half.
Yes.
And Chad Kelly in the first half, great, but in the second half, 3 turnovers.
And we
Yes.
all seen that Ole Miss offense can be dangerous, but if you put
Yes.
pressure on that quarterback and you play tough defense, you
Yes.
shut it down. You shut it
Because
down
it's number
completely.
Kelly is definitely not his uncle.
That's what he does, just like his uncle in the
What
Super
was
Bowl.
that you're doing?
Guessing
I'm
that
not
was a
really sure.
choking
Is that a
sound.
choke?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm not sure.
We couldn't
Thought you had
tell.
flashbacks of the weekend.
Yeah, having flashbacks to your off time.
Oh man.
That's different.
That's
Anyways,
different. time. Thank you.
So, since we'll step on to another game, since there were other games in this fantastic college football league weekend.
All right, Jay.
Clemson struggled a bit against Auburn. Auburn defense. Deshaun Watson didn't look like the Deshaun Watson of last year.
But again,
it was the
first
game
game
of the season.
And it was and wait a minute, it was at Auburn.
At Jordan-Hare Stadium, which is a very
jungle.
rowdy crowd.
Oh, yeah.
That defense stepped up in a big way to kind of
did.
shut them down.
They
You can tell they game plan for them the whole summer. I mean, as much as you can against Deshaun Watson, but again, he still made beautiful throws.
Gallman looked pretty good.
Gallman looked very good.
Malzahn's no slouch. We all know that.
Yeah.
But he needs to pick a quarterback.
Yeah, and I'm still shocked that John Franklin couldn't go in and win that job. I'm
Like
shocked.
I said, if you have 2 or 3 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. You
Exactly.
don't have a
There you
coach.
go.
And that's
At all.
correct. And that's another. And there's a couple of those games where had they started the one quarterback, I think they would have won. And this might be one of them. And there was another one, the Texas Notre Dame game. I think if Notre Dame had gone with Deshaun Kaiser the whole game, they win that game.
Yeah, it's a lot
Well,
of what
that's-
ifs, but
that's,
coaches game plan the way they want it.
I mean,
in the
That's
game,
material, but
in the game, if they see that, they should have played him. They didn't.
but
they
you
didn't.
definitely can't go with 3 quarterbacks in a constant rotation throughout the
You
game.
can't
That's
take away from Texas. They
No,
they
I mean,
played.
Texas,
They
yeah.
had great
But-
fight in
Texas-
that game.
and they
But-
picked the right quarterback. They picked Buechele. And
Right.
Buechele's not bad.
Yeah, he did good, and as we'll go to that one next, Notre Dame versus Texas. That was an incredible game. I don't know who here watched it, but that was
All the way to the second overtime.
yeah,
Yep.
that was
Shout out Tyron Soup still being able to get in
Scoops,
there and make an
Scoops
impact.
He's a good player.
He's basically the
18-wheeler
18-wheeler package.
Yeah.
And shout out to Charlie Strong, man. Been a
Yeah,
fan of
big-
yours for a
big shout
while.
out,
yeah,
Charlie.
big shout out.
Even when you were the defensive coordinator at the hated, school in orange and blue down there, I was still a fan of yours, Charlie Strong. I think you're a great coach. Back when you were at Louisville, man.
Oh yeah, man, he was
I
always
kept
putting
telling
good teams together.
the couple Texas fans I know, give this man a chance.
Yep, you got to do it.
It's not his fault he entered a situation where it was pretty
He
much
didn't have anyone on the table.
yeah.
Talking about a chance and a comeback. What about Nick Chubb, man? Oh my God!
Wow.
He's
222
looking
yards.
dangerous.
North Carolina needs to fix that leaky
He's
run
looking
defense.
dangerous.
Granted, there were a lot of questionable calls in that game.
Yeah, man. I mean, Chubb looks ready to go though. He looks ready to go for the whole season and
Yeah,
looks ready to take over.
Until he gets injured and Georgia's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
But that freshman quarterback is looking really good at him.
He is.
Yeah,
they made some
but
strong throws.
they're
It's looking bright for SEC quarterbacks in the near future.
They're still giving
it's definitely
Lambert
looking
first
good
team
because
reps.
right now Lambert is getting first team reps.
Yeah,
I think
Easton's
that's
still
Easton
got
is-
second team.
I think
Easton
that's
is
a
going
play
to
on
be
Kirby
the
Smart. I
quarterback.
think Kirby Smart is taking a good book from Jim
Yes.
Bowes and
Yes.
and Nick Saban's book. Is not. They don't want you to know who that quarterback is. They don't care for you to know. They'll keep everybody in the
Yeah,
dark,
they
including
want to
fans.
keep everyone
They
guessing.
want to keep everybody guessing. You don't be surprised if
Right.
the rookie comes out there and he starts the next game. Don't be surprised.
I'm pretty sure Easton will be starting before Florida.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, speaking of a team that needs to find a quarterback, how in the world is Les Miles not able to find a quarterback at all?
It's not about finding; it's developing.
You're
I mean, I
exact-
think
you're LSU.
Brandon Harris
He's
has
not
the
been
tools,
able to develop a
but he's not
quarterback.
developing his quarterback very well. He's
You're
not putting him in
LSU.
good situations. He's not rolling them
Alright.
out. You've seen this weekend Alabama
can be whatever you
FSU
want.
roll their rookie quarterbacks out and get them in good situations,
Yep.
and get them high percentage passes. They're expecting too much from Brandon Harris. That he hasn't developed very very
Jack
well
Cam.
at all.
All you gotta do is basically hand the ball off to Leonard Fournette and play action. That's basically
you can't
your
always
entire
rely on
offense.
the
You
running
can't
back.
always
Everybody's
Florida
betting
State
on
relies on Dalvin Cook a lot, and Boston
Everybody's
College,
betting on
even
that.
last night, you should shut them down. Houston shut us down running Dalvin Cook the whole time. You study,
They ate in
you,
the box.
you study the play calls, and you say, well, they're going to run Fournette every single play. We're going to just ait in the box at every single
And
play.
I'm saying
You
that's
stop
when
the running
you-
game,
that's
that's all
when
you rely on.
That's when you play action, go over the top.
No,
You
that's
can't always
that's
do
when
that.
you need to be rolling rollout plays. Rollout
Yeah.
plays, get them out the pocket.
You
get
can
them
win some small
comfortable.
games like that, but you can make it to the
That's
playoffs
what
and
I
the
mean by
championship. You can't win
play
games like
action.
that.
No.
You can't
That-
win games like that. You got to get that quarterback comfortable. That
gotta
quarterback
get
is
comfortable.
not comfortable in the past 3 years. He has not been comfortable in
Nope.
the offense.
But they can't recruit a guy that can beat him out. You're LSU, man. You ought to be able to recruit
They
a
got
guy that
talent
can
on
beat
the
him
outside.
out.
They need a guy like
You got to think too. A college coach is their ultimate goal is to win the championship, but it's also to try to get his players drafted into the NFL.
Yep.
You can't just rely on a couple of small plays here and there. You got to develop them to the quarterback. Jimbo Fisher, prime example, develops quarterbacks. He is known for getting quarterbacks
well
in the
3
pros.
quarterbacks drafted
in the
top
first round.
Yeah. Lane Kiffin develops quarterbacks.
He even got Golson. For crying out loud, Golson got drafted
Is
to
in
the
the
CFL.
he's in the Canadian League right now.
If Golson can make it, anybody can make it.
Yeah,
this
because
is a lot.
Golson was a complete trash last year.
Well, I mean, hold on. Let's give him credit. Golson did lead Notre Dame to a national title.
He did. He definitely
And
did.
that takes a lot in this era.
Well, that was with 20-something turnovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as I said, that's a very different offense.
He just happened
too.
to run into the best defense in the nation that year.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
so Alabama was loaded.
he was
that
bound
year.
to lose
I
that
can't
year.
even Front.
So let's take it back to Auburn and Clemson real quick. What does this say for these two schools going from here?
It's hard to
Auburn
say
might
because
be
it
a
was the
little-
first game.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Very
judge.
hard to say.
We'll have to-
Auburn might be a little better than people think defensively, but they still have got to pick between one of those 3 quarterbacks.
Yes, they
I
have
mean,
to make a quarterback decision.
And as I said, I'm shocked John Franklin didn't just go in there and win the job. I really am. Because with the hype and with the fact that, I mean...
Well, I mean, it just seems Les doesn't want to. I mean, Les. Gus does not want to choose between.
Gus needs to go with the most athletic quarterback.
Right.
because
And that
that's
would be
been
John
his thing.
Franklin III.
That's been his thing. Athletic quarterbacks that
Yes.
can't really pass that very well.
And-
But they can make that no huddle offense move. That's what he needs to go
I
with.
mean, part of the reason why I was surprised that John Franklin III didn't just go in there and win that job, people forget. John Franklin III, when Florida State played Auburn, played Nick Marshall on the scout team.
Right.
And here's the thing. Sean White and, well, Jeremy Johnson didn't really show anything last year. That's why I was...
didn't look too bad.
But that's what I'm saying. I was shocked. No, but they both were not very good last year. That's what I'm saying. I was shocked he didn't just go in there and take the job.
Well, I mean, there's obviously got to be something for him to be third in the depth chart there.
I've heard a lot of things about Franklin, and that's yap. His yap is
Well.
what's getting him in
They
trouble.
need a quarterback because they got weapons on the outside.
But Jalen
Obviously.
Ramsey's tweets, Jalen Ramsey
yeah.
wasn't fond of the guy at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Jalen Ramsey didn't like John Franklin III at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, he made it
So
very.
he's a
He made
cocky
it pretty
prick,
clear.
basically.
He had a mouth and
An
had a mouth
attitude
and a hummingbird
problem.
ass. But and go to back to Notre Dame, Texas, real quick. What do you see these two teams going from this? I mean, we're in the first week here, but
Notre Dame just picks Deshaun Kaiser. They'll be fine the rest of the year.
I
so
think
you see him
Texas-
bouncing back pretty well.
I think
Offense down-
Texas got a tough road in that Big 12, man, because you got TCU balling, you got.
TCU.
I mean, they struggled
They
against.
mean,
just
they're still a
gave
good
up
defense.
41
But I'm
points
thinking about
to a
comparing them.
FCS.
I'm comparing
well.
them to Texas. They're gonna struggle against Texas because they struggled to stop Notre Dame's quarterback, so they're gonna struggle to stop Kenny Hill.
But-
That's what I'm comparing it to.
But the thing is, TCU just gave up 41 points to South Dakota State.
True.
To the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State, who
But
only
they're gonna
averaged
struggle.
24 points a game
They're gonna
last year.
struggle the rest of
Jackrabbits
the
may
Big
be pretty
12.
good.
They're gonna struggle the rest of the Big 12. They still got to play Oklahoma. I mean, you got some tough teams still
Yeah.
playing that Big 12. It was really good for Charlie Strong to get that first win. I hope that he pulls out the rest of the season. I don't see him doing it.
That
I
remains
still
to be
see him
seen. Yeah.
finishing below 500 outside the top 25.
Ooh. Ouch.
And as I said
Bold
earlier, I
statement.
don't think Texas should have been ranked as high as they
No,
are
they
now.
shouldn't
and
have been. That was
Notre
not
Dame
now.
shouldn't have been ranked as high as they were starting
No,
in the
they shouldn't
preseason. But again, every
The-
single year they always put Notre Dame somewhere in the top 10, and they seem to find their way back.
But that
down
big
again.
jump, that
Yeah.
big jump for Texas was all
LSU.
because of their name.
LSU was ranked too high. Oklahoma was ranked way too high.
Way too
So-
high as well.
Since
of
we're on the
Oklahoma was in the
Oklahoma
playoffs,
subject,
but-
since we're on the Oklahoma subject, let's go back to Oklahoma.
H-Town Takeover doing work.
Wow,
That's all I
that
can leave
was
that at.
an impressive game
H-Town
right there.
Takeover
Houston's
doing work.
Taking
they're
over
not a bad
Texas.
team. Houston's
No.
a better team than people want to make them out to be.
Their
Now-
last two
Texas.
victories, Oklahoma, Florida State.
Now, the
That's
thing
pretty good resume.
where now people are wondering probably that are listening to us where I got the whole H-Town Takeover thing. It was from their recruiting from signing day. That was what their hashtag was from Tom Herman. Was
Because they only
H-Town
have a radius
Takeover.
of 30 miles that they go to recruit their players.
Well, they only basically recruit out of the state of Texas.
Well, no, they even said on the during the game, they said most of their players are from Houston.
Yeah, within the 30-mile range. That's
Within
all
that
they
30-mile
recruit. They don't
radius.
need to go out.
That Ed Oliver kid was a 5-star blue chip recruit. That was a true freshman, and he looked like an animal inside.
The fact is, Houston could very well be the best team in Texas right now.
Yeah,
They are
And that's possible.
to me right
that's
now.
very highly possible.
it's
And
very possible.
They should
Greg
look out
Ward
for that.
Jr.
Hey,
And
that's probably the best
Houston
quarterback.
has a lot to play for. They're playing for a playoff spot.
Yep.
They also playing to get into a conference. You
Yep,
know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So,
Big 12.
They very well could have that chip on their shoulder the whole year, and that could carry them to playoffs.
I think I told Clay they need to join a top conference.
Definitely.
It's not only going to be an extra $5 million for the coach, but I mean it'll really help them out. Now I want to see Houston do a good job.
Yeah, I
want
do
to see
too.
them develop.
They got my respect.
And if they keep their coach,
I like Tom Herman.
if they move to a big conference, they keep their coach.
Well,
Yeah.
they're
More likely.
They're on the
make
short.
more money than
Yes.
Nick Saban.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're on the short list to
Which,
be
of course,
in
Alabama
the Big
would
12.
definitely
So.
pay Nick Saban more.
Yeah, they would balance it out.
And Jimbo will probably get a good payday
Yeah,
if Nick
definitely.
Saban does. So.
Everyone start balancing out
Yeah,
as it
definitely.
went along. And since we're talking about Nick Saban, let's move on over to that one.
Very,
And that decimation that happened in Texas.
very,
CJ
very rocky
Boldcastify.
first half. Trying to switch quarterbacks back and forth. But the key is our defense. Defense played like midseason the whole year. They looked like midseason in that first quarter. Besides one big play, I mean, they look ready to go. They really ready to get their quarterback.
Yeah.
Molly Humphrey is probably one of the best shutdown cornerbacks. I'm going to say that all year. He's probably one of the best shutdown cornerbacks. Now, we have a weakness on the other side with Antonio Averett out there. We're going to have to figure that out, figure out if he's the guy or if he's not the guy. But overall, our defense looked ready to go.
Just stick to Jalen Hurts, man, and y'all be fine.
I think so, too. I don't know if Nick Saban's ready to commit to that this week, but I think Jalen Hurts is the guy going forward.
It doesn't matter, dude. Jalen Hurts
Jalen
makes
Hurts.
your offense go.
It was the red zone scoring that made it for me. He scored in the red zone when everybody was
Very
expecting
consistent.
to run.
He was.
He was able to get into the red zone, get into the end zone, and be a threat down there. So I think that running threat definitely brings a very dynamic and scary option to the Alabama offense.
And of course, Lane Kiffin, I don't know if anyone's seen it after the game, tweeted out and put on Facebook a little picture of his son holding the game ball
Oh yeah.
with 315 LAX
If it wasn't for Lane Kiffin,
in a reference
Nick
to
Saban
when
would've-
they fired him
Yeah,
if
which-
it
and
wasn't
left
for-
him at LAX.
Poor
USC.
Kiffin. You felt bad for him a little bit there because it's like,
Yeah, if it wasn't for Nick Saban, or if it wasn't for Lane Kiffin, Nick Saban would have kept that game 38-6 and just wrote it out. But
Oh, yeah.
Lane
Lane
Kiffin
Kiffin has something else to say
Yeah,
about
Lane
that.
Kiffin wanted to put a little extra on there.
Lane Kiffin got his revenge
Yep.
on Los Angeles.
Oh,
And
yeah,
Lane
he did.
Kiffin is
big time.
coaching his way to a head coaching job, and that's why we brought in Guess
Mr.
who?
Sarkisian.
Brought him in.
USC's old head coach.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Yep.
He's
Another-
steady taking another blow at USC. I mean,
And it was like the day after, too.
Nick Saban just owning the recruiting world all around.
Yeah, basically between him and Jimbo Fisher right now,
I mean-
they've had the top two classes the last few years.
Yeah, you
Or-
pretty much, and Nick Saban is pretty much anticipating Lance Kiffin departure after this year, so we're getting ready for the future, and
And
it
then-
just looks scary for everybody.
Normally you have Urban Meyer, Jim Harbaugh, and Dabo Swinney have basically rounded out the top five recruiters.
There you go. And Sarkisian, they're saying, is a better recruiter than Lane Kiffin. We'll see if that upholds.
Yeah, that's what the
throughout
word
season.
is.
Yeah, Sarkisian when he was at SC and when he was at Washington was bringing in some good classes. He knows how to find some talent. Just needs to get away from the bottle a little bit.
Yeah. And SC, I mean, they played the best defense in college football their first week. They shouldn't get too down about that. They still have a lot to fight for. Still have the Pac-12 to fight for. And if you win the Pac-12 and you only lost to Alabama, if Alabama runs the table, you never know.
I mean-
but we're still debatable on that subject.
Oregon looks like they're going to have a down year. It looks like SC's biggest competition is going to be Washington, who basically
Washington?
Look really good.
put a
Washington
bank.
looked really
They
good.
put a roll on.
They look really good. Washington looked really
On
good.
Rutgers.
Quarterback, the offense looked like it's rolling.
Stanford, yeah, they beat up a cupcake, but they're having to replace a quarterback.
I was going to say,
and
I would
Stanford
say-
still looks pretty good.
I would say Stanford is
other
probably
than-
their
I mean, I won't
competitive.
count them out with McCaffrey.
But yeah, other than that, they still have to replace a quarterback.
And no
Right.
sleep on UCLA, man. I mean,
Yeah.
they played
The
they played an
defense.
SEC
They
SEC
stayed,
West team
exactly. They played
at
A&M.
home in the Big
tight.
12. They got to be ready.
Yeah. Oh Lord. For those of you who don't know why we're laughing, Mr. Chitty just showed us a nice little meme about, okay, here's the play, scare the, out of us the first half, and then we'll pass the second half.
Anyways, moving on from that.
What I'm looking forward to is this Tennessee Virginia Tech game. I'm really
That
looking forward to
is-
see if Tennessee
that
is
is
a
gonna
real
be a big
deal
game
or
next
if
week.
They're just
Now we get to a little
and that's going to be
pick'em.
at Bristol.
Little pick'em here. Who y'all got?
I mean, It's hard not to take Tennessee in that one. But
The way they looked last week, I mean, it's kind of hard not to take Tennessee, but I'm going to run with Tennessee as far as talent. I think their talent will overwhelm Virginia Tech in the second half. But, I mean, look for Virginia Tech to put up a good fight that first half.
yeah, I mean, I expect it to be a pretty good matchup overall. And as a reminder, it is going to be in Bristol at the Bristol Speedway.
I'm actually going to take
And
the upset.
they are going to be both getting $4 million apiece.
Okay.
For this game.
Mark, why are you taking the upset? What
What you
you
got?
see in Virginia Tech?
I'm not impressed with. It's more of a. I'm not impressed with Tennessee
Okay.
than.
I'll admit,
it's the
I'm not
first week.
I'm not very impressed with Dodd. I mean, he's not.
And,
First week, I mean, you expect Dodd to be seasoned and
Yeah.
ready to go the first week.
You would
and
expect
those
him to
two
be a little
running
bit
backs,
better.
I expected
Definitely.
more out of
Definitely.
Hurd and Kamara.
But I mean,
as well.
you will expect them to be a little more pumped for this game coming up.
Yeah, but still, the fact that you had to rely on a kicker missing an extra point and basically missing a field goal in regulation.
What I'm worried about in Tennessee
win.
is their receivers.
Right.
I don't see the receivers
Garbage.
catching any balls. I mean,
Right. They gotta
definitely
get that
need to step up
situated.
some.
Yeah, their receivers are hot garbage. Period.
Yeah, they got to get together. But I'm pretty pumped for the Battle of Bristol to see how that looks being in a speedway like that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's gonna be
that's
pretty
going to
whacked.
be nice to see.
Yeah. So what you got? Who y'all got for UCF Michigan?
Michigan will score another 50-point game. I mean, I'm upset about the schedule. I wish they
They'll
would.
probably be drinking in the basement
Yeah,
again. as Mark
Actually,
says.
yeah. Well,
with all the hype with Harborough in the offseason, I would think he would schedule a better team than the beginning half of his season. But I guess he's prepping for that.
It was
Big Ten
probably
schedule
already
at the end.
done.
scheduled a few
Yeah.
years back when UCF was still worth a half of something. But
Yeah.
the thing is, they actually did get off the schneid, and
And
they're
they
no
won their
longer.
first game
Yeah.
in forever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
their first game in more than a year.
Yeah.
Let's
Wow.
just put it this way. Granted, it was
Impressive.
against FCS South Carolina State, but still, it's one of those cases of they're no longer drinking for free at the basement anymore. The problem
There
is
you
they're
go.
about to get 50 hung on them by Harbaugh.
Definitely about to get 50 hung on them.
Kentucky and Florida, interesting one here.
I'm taking Kentucky to upset
Yeah.
Florida.
Granted.
I
I would like that.
I'm
Kentucky did just lose to Southern Miss.
I like the fight in Kentucky. I don't like the fight in Florida at all. They didn't look ready at all last week against UMass, and I just don't think I don't see a leader on their team that's ready to
Right,
get them ready
right.
to play a big game at all.
I got to stick with Florida until proven otherwise.
Here's my question: who do you think's a better football team, Florida or Southern Miss?
Florida's definitely a better
Well,
football
yeah.
team.
Yeah, Kentucky just lost to Southern Miss
That's true.
at home.
Well, I mean, we did just see
So-
7 SEC teams lose on opening
But I'm
weekend.
saying they lost to
So, I mean,
Southern
that is
Miss
the truth.
at home.
Yeah.
Southern Miss is a Group of 5 team.
Okay.
That's
I mean,
what I'm saying. It's kind of like, I understand if it was another Power 5 conference team.
any game. I mean, Mississippi State lost to
South
Alabama
to directional Alabama.
See, this is my thing on
on the
Florida.
Alabama Jaguars.
to directional cousins only.
This is my thing about Florida. Florida looks like 07, 06 Alabama, where they got a game manager, a quarterback,
Yes.
they got a running
You can't
back,
really
and they
throw.
got no receivers that are out there, and they got a very good defense.
Hot garbage.
I think at this time in college football, I think it's too late for that to win a championship. I think too
I
many
agree
people got
100%.
good quarterbacks. Too many people got, receiving threats. I think there's too many points that be scored. Defense definitely wins championships, no doubt about that. But I don't think Florida can score enough points to win a championship right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of quarterbacks, so I will say Southern Miss does actually have a draftable quarterback. Nick Mullins is
I mean, that
projected to
may-
be a mid-round, like a 4th, 5th round
I
draft
mean,
pick
maybe
right now.
Kentucky wasn't ready for that.
Well, but you would expect Mark Stoops to be a little more.
I'm
ready,
just saying,
who's a
you-
defensive-minded coach.
Variables in every game. Well, I guess we'll touch on this.
Nevada, Notre Dame.
Nevada, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's looking for revenge. Notre Dame will rank
Yeah.
40, 30 points on
Definitely.
Nevada.
Notre Dame's.
They need a big
Take
win.
out a little
They're
hate.
going to go
Yeah.
for a big win. They're going
Yeah.
to score as many points as they can to make their case for the
Nah.
playoffs.
I don't know about this game on 10:30 at ESPN here, the Virginia-Oregon game. Well, Oregon did allow 28 points to Cal Davis this past weekend. But then you have Virginia on the other end, who just lost to FCS Richmond.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm taking Oregon in this game.
Yeah.
I think Royce Freeman
Yeah.
Blowout much?
is going to roll over.
And
The Hokies,
hopefully
not
to
Hokies, the Cavaliers
Cavs,
haven't proven
Wahoos.
anything.
Yeah, poor
Virginia's
Bronco
still
Mendenhall. Bronco Mendenhall just entered basically a full rebuilding mode. man.
They haven't proved anything, so
They're in full rebuilding mode right now. Yeah. And they got, if I'm not, I want to say their quarterback is now Davis Webb, I believe, the former Texas Tech transfer.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering, yeah.
Well, either way, they've got a lot of work to do.
Terribly.
So before we end the show, I was wondering, who is in you guys' way too early playoff picture? The top 4 teams right now.
Way too early.
Way too early playoff picture. After week 1, after all the madness, where are y'all at right now as far as playoff contenders?
Alabama. I still got to go with Clemson until, the Clemson-Florida State game there.
Fair enough.
Just because, defending, I'll go with Ohio State for right now.
Right.
But, Ohio State, Michigan. And I'll actually go with a surprise second team from the ACC. I'll go Florida State. I think if I'll actually go with Clemson and Florida State. One of them's going to knock the other out.
I was about to say, how does that work?
But if they're only losses to each other and some dominoes fall, which I think might happen, you could have 2 ACC teams.
I guess it's possible, yeah.
I can see it. I got Alabama. I got Florida State finishing number 2. I got them beating Clemson in the regular season. I got Clemson finding their way in there somewhere, somehow. I got them finding their way in there. And Houston. I like Houston to make it in there. I mean, they run the table. They beat Louisville. If Louisville makes a good statement throughout the regular season, I like them to make that jump.
Yeah, if their only other losses are to Clemson and Florida State, basically. Yeah, because Louisville has played both of them.
Yeah,
mine ties along with both. I was going to say Alabama, Clemson, and Houston and Florida State.
Yeah.
Not in that order per se, but those teams.
I mean, that's pretty solid. I mean, they're all pretty solid picks.
Yeah, because I seriously believe there will be enough dominoes that will fall that will.
I'm pretty sure we'll start seeing some dominoes.
2 ACC teams in there, and
yeah,
that's not just a
Houston
homer
can
thing.
join a
That's
conference.
an actual. Yep. That's actually realistic.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be funny? Houston joins ACC, 3 ACC teams in the playoffs.
Houston is on the short list for the Big 12, and I think the ACC is locked doors right now.
Ironically speaking.
Clay, you got a top 4 right now? Way too
right
early
now?
top 4?
Way too early top 4?
Yeah.
I guess I'll go. Hold on. What we got here? What do we got? All right, I've got Alabama.
Okay.
Imagine that. Florida State.
Yep.
Houston. Hold on, another one.
Yeah, because Houston was my number 5, so.
UCLA.
Wow.
UCLA just lost to Texas A&M.
I know they did.
You like them to run play win the Pac-12 and get to the championship?
So a lot of time.
I like Stanford and Washington more than I like UCLA right now.
If Texas A&M has a good year,
they
knock off a few SEC West teams. That can possibly happen. If they knock off, all UCLA has to do is beat out the Big 12, which
they still have they still have a very good quarterback.
Yes, they have a very, very good quarterback.
I mean, I like Josh Rosen, but there's that Browning kid from Washington is not bad either. And second off, I genuinely think Washington and Stanford have better football teams.
I think Stanford has a better team overall.
Yeah.
But
interesting top 4 is.
But I mean, it's way too early top 4. That's the whole point of it. You're supposed to go kind of off the stuff.
I like that. I like it.
It's supposed to be a little different.
I am looking at it from a projection standpoint.
So
I will take it one step further. I think defense wins championships. So as far as
100%
teams playing for a championship, I think it will be Florida State, Alabama, because they have the best 2 defenses in the nation. Period.
Florida State needs to tighten up.
Florida State definitely needs to play better defense in the first half, but I think they proved the second half that they're ready to play that defense.
Yes,
3 players did.
I think Alabama has proven that they're ready to play defense.
Alabama's come back ready and loaded.
They're ready from the jump, ready to play D, ready to shut guys out, keep guys out the end zone, and that's our thing.
That's Nick Saban for you.
Yeah. And let's just, before we wrap it up, a little touch on some current news going on. Webster from the game last night said he is out for the season. The defensive back.
The guy that had the ugly leg.
Yeah, the ugly leg injury. Unfortunately, and I really do hate to see that. I mean,
sorry for you, man, because that's gotta suck, man.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he does listen to the program so he can hear you.
There's a couple guys that's suspended that deserve to be suspended. I think that guy LSU
Oh,
deserves to be suspended.
Josh Booty
And,
or
the guy
Butte
from
or
UCF,
whatever.
Talking about the one
USC
from,
deserves to be
USC
suspended,
that-
definitely.
That
Yeah.
steps on the guy's.
Minka Fitzpatrick does.
Yes.
I think he definitely
Yes,
deserves
he needs to be.
suspended.
Well, they said he's out for like half a game.
I
That's
think it should be
stupid.
a whole
I
game.
Should be a whole game.
Here's my take on the Butte one from LSU. They should suspend him for a meaningful game because, I mean, that was uncalled for. Period.
No, that's
that was completely uncalled for.
Yeah, it was. That hit over the. Yeah, it was,
That was worse than the guy cleating, Fitzpatrick's family jewels.
I mean, those family jewels are important. I mean,
Yes, they are, but I'm saying
that's still a little much.
The fact that was a blatant cheap shot, like well after the play. His was like just after. I'm saying this guy did it like almost a minute or two after the play.
Yeah, but I mean, both are pretty.
Both are very egregious.
Pretty bad. So
I mean, shoot, I'm not going that, but it is wrong for that guy to have stepped on dude's jewels.
So
Probably should have gotten a full game, but still
Yes.
half game.
LSU fan also started a online donation to buy
GoFundMe
out,
account to get rid of
GoFundMe.
Les
Yes.
Miles.
to get rid of Les Miles.
Oh, we have a firelessmiles.com basically.
Yes,
Yes.
Les Miles is on the way out the door, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
'cause-
I'm sorry, but he's on the way out the door.
He's
I
had
mean,
his time. He's done
I
well.
figured
Can't find a
this was
quarterback.
coming after he lost to us this year, but I think it's coming way sooner because he
Cause-
lost that opener.
Because fool can't find a quarterback.
I used to look forward to LSU and Alabama games, but not so much anymore.
Not so much.
Yeah,
No, they've been pretty
boring.
boring lately. It's all
I mean,
Alabama.
Alabama and Ole Miss to me is a better game than Alabama
Yeah.
Yeah, it
LSU.
is.
And I can't
I
wait to
actually
stomp
think-
them, by the way.
And we see that in a few weeks.
I couldn't
I can't
understand
wait to stomp
why
them. 3 touchdowns.
LSU preseason was ranked higher than Ole Miss. 'Cause
Yeah.
I still thought LSU was
Didn't
not
have a
as good a
quarterback.
team.
Exactly.
It was all-
LSU
it
is
was
another
all
team
hype.
that finds a way to
It
put
was
them in
all
the top
hype.
5
Exactly.
somehow.
It shouldn't have been in there.
The whole point,
shouldn't
it
have
was
been
all
in there.
hype. That's the only reason it was scaled up that high.
That hype train, man.
Yeah. So
It was definitely an interesting weekend of football. One of the best I've ever seen in my life.
absolutely, it was definitely one of the
All
best
of our
opening
teams
weekends.
won. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Ours was ugly, but then again, you got to look at we had 3 veteran people on our offensive line injured, a good
Yeah.
wide receiver injured, so
Well, we
conquered.
what was that, a 30 nothing comeback or one?
Going into half, it was 28-6.
Yeah.
28-13. It was. We
Right.
did get a touchdown right before the half, but from 6, it was 36 before they scored again. So yeah,
Okay.
hold on. Actually,
right.
it was 39 before they scored again.
All
Yeah,
right.
so
Math's
33.
Mark's doing math, so it's rough.
33-point swing.
Yes.
Smoke alarm's about to go off.
All right, and with that, we bid you adieu. Thanks for listening to the Boldcastify College series,
Yep.
and catch us on Boldcastify or follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all that good stuff. We'll be reaching out to you. And have a wonderful evening.
And what's our address on Twitter now?
Our actual Twitter
for the college sports?
for the college sports is
College series?
currently Garnet and Gold BCS.
Yeah, I'm working on getting that crimson and gray or crimson and white, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You mean the elephant?
We'll eventually try to get some. We're gonna probably try to make it bipartisan here shortly.
Maybe we'll make that national championship bet when we see Florida State and Alabama play each other for the national championship.
Yep.
So,
You've been listening to the Boldcastify College Series.